yeah, yeah, yeah. Welcome to everything, 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 everything. If you're a member of the 92%, this is the commentary, cause if you're ready for honest takes and tired of people playing in your face, if you're ready to reclaim your power, give me half an hour. On my sister, stay with me. Culture, commentary, and conscious living. Welcome to everything, 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 Aaron. This is everything, 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 Aaron. Aaron, 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 everything, Aaron, Aaron, Aaron.
Welcome back to Everything Erin, a space for culture, commentary, and conscious living. I'm Erin. This podcast is for people who want to engage with what's happening around us without losing ourselves in the noise. We make room for self definition, nuance, and clarity. Each episode is an invitation to think critically, feel honestly, and stay grounded while navigating power, identity, and change, both in the world and within ourselves. Wherever you're listening from, I'm glad you're here. And as Jeezy says, let's get it. There's an unspoken agreement that many black women are introduced to long before we consent to it. We're told to be strong, be resilient, hold it together, don't complain, don't rest, don't fall apart. And if you dare to fall apart, you damn sure better do it quietly. This episode is called Breaking the Strong Black Woman Contract because that's what it is, a contract, one we never signed, but we've been expected to uphold anyway. Today, I want to talk about who this contract actually serves, what it costs us emotionally, physically, spiritually, and why more and more Black women are deciding to walk away from it. Because let's be clear, strength did not originate as empowerment for us. It became an expectation placed on us, a survival mechanism reframed as a personality, a coping mechanism strategy that has been mistaken for identity. And while the world praises our resilience, it never asks what it takes to maintain it, who benefits from our endurance, or why our softness is treated like a liability instead of a right. This conversation is not about denying our capacity, it's about refusing to confuse survival with destiny. It's about asking what happens when Black women stop proving they can carry everything and we start choosing not to. If you've ever felt pressure to be the strong one, if you've ever been admired for holding it together while quietly unraveling, if you've ever wondered who you might be without the armor, you're in the right place. This is not a call to collapse, it's a call to clarity. Let's talk about the contract and why we're done honoring it. Stay with me. As always, we have to start with historical context and the origin story of this strong black woman contract. Like with most things, it begins with slavery. During enslavement times is when a lot of stereotypes were developed and foisted on us as a way of dehumanizing us and painting a stark difference between us and white women. The first image that feeds into this is that of the mammy. The mammy was the loyal, always cheerful, enslaved domestic worker who was an endless amount of nurturing, and she's willing to sacrifice herself for white people. The mammy is the black woman that's content with being enslaved and is more devoted to the children of her white master than the children she birthed herself. The next one is the Jezebel. She is the hypersexual, promiscuous black woman that they created to rationalize the sexual and reproductive violence they committed against us. The last one is Sapphire, aka the angry black woman, which I've been called so many times, and I know many of us have. This stereotype is loud. She is bitter. She is emasculating. She's verbally aggressive, and she's always dissatisfied. She was created as a way of dismissing our very righteous anger at racism and sexism. Now, for those not familiar with the name Sapphire, her origins can be traced to the Amos and Andy radio and then the TV show. They had a character named Sapphire Stevens, and she was nagging and sharp tongued, and she was married to a stereotyped lazy black husband named Kingfish. Together, these three stereotypes provide the foundation for the strong black woman by showing us as tireless caregivers who never get tired of being disrespected, and we have no vulnerability or innocence. Even during the post emancipation of the 20th century, black women were still seen as just hardworking and built for labor. In contrast to white women who were seen as delicate and in need of protection. Sigh. This continued rhetoric, along with the stereotype of the welfare queen, which I expounded upon in episode 3 of Everything Airing When Black Women Don't Flinch. Check it out if you haven't already. Has only continued to contribute to warped and unfair expectations of black women. We were either women who could handle heavy physical and emotional labor without complaint and unwavering loyalty, or we were lazy, manipulative, and undeserving of anything. During the mid 20th century, we had to contend with how the strong black woman narrative actually became a source of survival for us in our own communities. In the black community, we praise women like this because they're the ones who held the family together, all while dealing with things that destroyed the nuclear black family, like lynching and mass incarceration. And besides this, we also had to adhere to the same respectability politics we are faced with today. Black women are supposed to be morally impeccable, in full control of our emotions, and hardworking as a buffer against racism. Now, having to straddle these two sides of the fence created quite the conundrum. The very traits that helped us in our community survive also help to cement the expectations that we as black women have to be endlessly resilient. During the 1990s is really when psychology started to delve more into the strong black woman schema. Some scholars described it as prescribing emotional strength, independence, and caregiving as central to black womanhood. Now, it goes even further to be described as an obligation to show strength, succeed despite the limitations placed by lack of resources and racism, and avoid any hint of vulnerability and continue helping others. Some people even broke this down further into specific factors like the mask of strength, self reliance, and caretaking, which creates learned behavior that continues to be passed down both as an armor but also as a mechanism of control. A lot of us experience the strong black woman identity partly as empowerment because it honors our resiliency, our competence, and our ability to withstand racism and misogyny. It also venerates our ancestors by acknowledging the generations of harm they withstood. But research has started to quantify the serious cost to us. When it comes to mental health, upholding the strong black woman label is linked to higher rates of depression, anxiety, and self silencing to the point we minimize how we feel. And we either delay seeking help or we don't seek help at all. With our physical health, it leads to chronic stress, emotional suppression, overworking ourselves, and unhealthy coping methods such as sleep disruption, stress related illness, or disorganized eating. And for the women who dare stray from the strong black woman label and seek help, we're then forced to deal with providers who do not believe our pain or recognize our vulnerability. But as we continue to dig in, black feminist writers, activists, and clinicians has started to call out that even when this trope is praised, it still functions as a way to control and normalize black women suffering in unpaid care. What are some important critiques we can look at now? First, we need to differentiate between chosen inner strength and superhuman expectations. Two, we need to challenge the narratives in media, policy, and healthcare that continue to assume we are naturally stronger, need less support, and feel less pain. Third, we need to create new counter narratives that center softness, interdependence, emotional expression, and access to resources as valid Black womanhood. Fourth, we either need to take a serious look at retiring or reframing the strong black woman label so that we are allowed to be the complex women that we are. And that includes us sometimes being strong, sometimes having a little bit of weakness, but always deserving care no matter what. Now, let's circle back to the negative psychological effects of the strong black woman stereotype. I've already mentioned that we deal with increased rates of depression, anxiety, and self silencing. The mandatory emotional strength and caretaking we're forced to adhere to causes us to feel that our feelings of personal control or mastery are extremely low, which only increases our anxiety and depression and makes that stuff hit us a lot harder. When we self silence, we don't ask for what we need, we hide our hurt, and we look at ourselves through an extreme lens of strength. But this leads to us neglecting our needs, our rest, our pleasure. We've all seen this or been guilty of doing it ourselves. My entire life, all I've ever seen from my own mother is the strong black woman image. I can count on one hand, not even using all of my fingers, the number of times that I have seen my mother cry. She has been the pillar of strength my entire life. I don't think there's a crack in her armor. Most of the time, I've looked at her as this impenetrable person. I've seen her self neglect most of my life too, when she didn't have to. My mother is this exceptional woman who was able to retire from nursing at 49, fully vested. But even though she had the means, it has always been like pulling teeth to get her to do anything for herself. Whether it's going to get a pedicure, buying a new dress for church, another purse she might want, she has always tried to justify a reason as to why she doesn't need things. And millions of black women engage in this same behavior because, like my mom, they've been conditioned that way. By refusing to break this contract, it makes us less likely to reach out and we choose to sink further into isolation. Now this is something I'm very guilty of. There are so many days that I feel overwhelmed as a single mother, balancing working, raising a child on the spectrum, and trying to find a little time for myself. When I have those days, I very much self isolate. Hell, I had one of those days yesterday. But that's because that's what I've been taught. No one cares that I'm overwhelmed. No one's supposed to know that I'm breaking down because I don't have the luxury to be anything but strong. Because if anyone sees a crack in my armor, it's considered a betrayal of all the strong black women that have come before me and dealt with far more. Now, what about the health effects of this on our bodies? We experience a range of stress related health issues, including cardiovascular disease and autoimmune disorders. Our high effort coping, y'all know the way that we always keep it pushing, how we rarely ever rest, how we're always worrying about someone else. All that does is elevate our chronic stress levels. Recent studies of blood pressure, inflammation, hormones, and metabolic markers offer solid proof that this superhuman superwoman role is linked to a higher allostatic load when it leads to dealing with racial discrimination. Now, I know you might be like, Aaron, what in these seven hells is an allostatic load? I'm glad you asked. It just means that the wear and tear on the body from chronic accumulated stress as our bodies tries to adapt to adverse, repeated, or prolonged demands. So over time, what happens is this contributes to wear and tear on our body, deterioration, um, under all of this stress. That's all it means. So, examples, are you noticing migraines? Are you having hair loss? Are you having fatigue? Are you having weight gain? Are you having panic attacks? All of these are stress related symptoms we experience when we continue to internalize the strong black woman narrative. While we continue to avoid self care or coping and we continue to overwork, we also increase our risk of cardiovascular disease. Overall, our health is so much worse, and that includes those of us that are higher earners. The effects of the strong black woman archetype do not discriminate based on wages because we are so used to presenting strength. What we end up doing is we start to suppress our emotions and we become emotionally stunted. And sometimes we don't even realize it because we're so busy continuing to push through no matter what. Let's examine some of the strong black women we see in the media. Up first is someone we're all culturally familiar with, Sophia, in the original Color Purple movie. She was physically strong, she was emotionally tough, she was protective of her family, she didn't bow down to abuse, but she also endured a lot of suffering, and she wasn't allowed to have a moment of vulnerability. Then we have Patsy in 12 Years a Slave. Again, physically strong, productive. She bore a lot of pain while enduring horrific violence. And again, she was expected to deal with it without protection or any kind of comfort. We can bring it a little forward in time and look at Oda Mae Brown in Ghost and Queenie in The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Both of these characters are nurturing, emotionally and spiritually strong black women, and they put whatever else they have going on aside to care for white people. And again, since this strong black woman mythos crosses all ages and wages, we can look at Jessica Pearson in Suits and in her spinoff, Pearson, which I am still mad that they canceled that. I loved that show, but I digress. Jessica was a boss bitch that held everything together. She seemed invulnerable and she rarely asked for help or gave a glimpse of her soft side. We can even look at some of Angela Bassett's career roles as like Tina Turner, Rosa Parks, Betty Shabazz, Bernadette as further examples in which we're expected to celebrate their strength, but also continue reinforcing the expectations to be superhuman. Now, what about strong black woman examples in real life? We have a myriad of these in our own lives. I've already mentioned my mom, my maternal and paternal grandmothers. Both were very strong women. Today, one of the quintessential strong black women everyone looks at is my forever First Lady, Michelle Obama. We see the First Lady as the ultimate confident, poised, graceful, unflappable wife, mother, dignitary, and professional who has it all together. But at the same time, she also has to constantly fight against being seen as an angry black woman if she ever gave a valid critique or expressed a moment of anger. Yet another one is Serena Williams. She's seen as inhumanly strong and resilient, And because of that, she almost died after giving birth because no one took her concerns seriously. And then, whenever she played tennis and continually put belt to ass, she dealt with a lot of microaggressions. And anytime she pushed back, people said she was the angry black woman instead of just respecting her damn boundaries. And we can't forget about our good sis, Congresswoman, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. Y'all, I am still pissed to the highest levels of pissivity at how they did her in Texas. They like her fighting spirit and her strength, and then turn around and completely lie on her and malign her character. And because of all that, she has had to wrap that strong black woman protection around her like a cloak, despite the fact that I know she's hurting inside. Hell, I'm hurting inside and I'm not even in Texas. But what did Jasmine do? The day after she lost to that man that some of these dummies think is actually Latino and that's why they voted for him, she went right back to Washington and she got that bird legged hoe Christy Nom all the way together during them hearings. Jasmine didn't take a break to mourn or to process. She went straight back to work. Why? Because she has to be that strong black woman and not let them incompetent fucks in Washington see her sweat. And as we say in the South, sometimes that's a hard road to hoe. I'm telling you. Now, what about the strong black woman narratives that we love? Now, these next ones might be a little controversial. Again, because we like them. Hell, we love them. Destiny's Child, independent women. In a way, it is the precursor to the strong black woman narrative because it popularized us depending on no one else but ourselves. But it also left no room for any sort of vulnerability. And I'm super guilty of this myself because I despise, in all caps, when a man tries to use the gold digger narrative because I'm quick to say, I'm an independent woman. I don't need you for shit. Like, be honest, how many of us have done this? Then we have my personal favorite, the boss bitch. I'm bossy. We are women who embody being unbothered, in full control, with no perceived chinks in our armor. I mean, I call myself a boss bitch all the time, but is it healthy for me? I mean, if you think about it, it is just a better way of reinforcing the idea of giving your all, being super resilient, and never cracking. So it's probably a good thing for me to call myself a boss bitch. Now, I know you might be sitting and thinking, Aaron, you've brought up a lot. I've brought up the historical aspects, I've shared some cultural examples, and I've been asking you to take a deep look at yourself and everything that you've been taught and basically unlearn it. You might be wondering, where the hell do we start? We can start by redefining what strength looks like for us. And that starts with changing our personal habits and rising up against systems that reward self sacrifice and silence. So, number one, make your own non negotiable well being schedule. Schedule your rest, time for hobbies and pleasure. Girl, eat you a good balanced meal. Find you some damn hobbies. Mom, my aunties, my sisters, my girl cousins. And to y'all older generation, hobbies do not include going to clean the church or ironing the tablecloths for Sunday communion. I'm just saying, it's not a hobby. Talking about things that you enjoy, real hobbies, journaling, reading, dancing, something fun. Number two, learn to fucking say no. Now, this one's going to be tough for a lot of people because, again, we are conditioned to put ourselves on the back burner for everyone else. For me, I love to tell people no. No, I don't want to go and visit so and so. No, I don't want to go anywhere this weekend. No, I don't want to go to church with someone. So I'm good at telling people no. But I think that might have a little to do with me being an elder millennial. But start saying no. When them people on them jobs be asking you to stay over and help out and you salary with no extra compensation, say no. When people try to pressure you into having a conversation with somebody that you don't want to talk to, say no and don't feel bad about it. Saying no is a survival skill, it's not selfishness. Number three, find a trusted person or persons that you are comfortable confiding in and won't tell all your business. Let that be where you tell someone that you are not okay or that you need help. This should be the space where you allow yourself to be cared for, where you feel comfortable being honest. Now, this one's very hard for me. And it's hard for a few reasons. For starters, people have betrayed me. And what that does is it hardens your heart and it turns that armor that we have basically into vibranium. But also, I've been raised by a strong black woman who was raised by another strong black woman, and so forth. So, again, deconstructing from constantly being told this. Even now, I can complain about something to my mom when I'm frustrated, and she always just says to me, put on your big girl drawers again, which sends the message to be that strong black woman no matter what. Number four, seek therapy. I'm going to say it again. Seek therapy. Now, I know if you grew up in the Southern Black church like me, black families are notorious for telling us, you just better pray and get at the God. That therapy, that ain't nothing but some old poppycock. Now, there will never be anything wrong with praying, but there is also nothing wrong with having someone experience that can help you sort things out. As black women, we have so much to unpack spiritually, emotionally, culturally, and learning ourselves and breaking away from unhealthy behaviors that we've learned. It might take a little while, but that's okay. It doesn't mean you have a lack of faith in whatever it is you believe in. It means you are using your discernment to seek some extra help. Number five, in professional settings such as healthcare and education, let them know they are wrong in assuming that black women can handle more. Don't let them dismiss your complaints about pain, stress, and other supportive needs you might have. I work in the healthcare industry, y'all, and if we don't advocate for ourselves, nobody will because they only see us as the strong black woman. And to them, we don't need any extra care. Now, if you're a black sister and you sit in a position of authority, you be the leader of the change. Advocate for us by putting policies in place that limit us being overworked. This can be things like getting rid of caseload limits, which I'm highly in favor of. Allowing mental health days, again, highly in favor of. And protected time off. And create safe spaces for black women on the job where we can just be. And number six, start shifting the language that defines us. We're going to stop saying, I'm so strong, I can handle it. Instead, we're going to say, I deserve rest. I deserve support. I deserve care. I deserve to just fucking be. We do not have to keep being flexible and accommodating and denying ourselves. No, we have the right to reframe our own narrative. That was a little heavy, wasn't it? As Auntie Dominique Morgan says, my God, today. I know it was heavy. And trust me, when Spirit led me to this topic, I had no idea just how much I would be stepping on my own toes. But there's more. And this one is really going to be the kicker. We have to address vulnerability. I know you're probably like, sis, we can't be vulnerable. Not with everything going on in the world today. And my first inclination is to agree with you. Hell, the way some of these jokers is out here on this dating scene, I wish I would be stupid enough to be vulnerable with their lying asses, but that's a whole nother episode. What I mean about vulnerability is we have to stop suppressing our emotions. It's all right to admit that you are a boss ass bitch, but sometimes you do want somebody to hold you. It doesn't make you less of a boss. It just means you're able to reach your vulnerability and admit to that. By speaking out loud when we feel need, pain, or fear, we start to take away the power from the stereotype that has held us in a chokehold. Not only that, but it helps reduce stress, anxiety, and burnout. It frees us from the cage of the strong black woman ethos. Stop saying you're fine when you are stressed the fuck out. Let someone take something else off of your to do list. You are not a machine. Machines can't be vulnerable because they don't have a soul. You are divinity in human flesh. I'm deconstructing. But what's the saying? The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Sis, if you can't be vulnerable and take care of your flesh, your spirit inside is going to burn out too. Be vulnerable in the spaces you feel safe. That's my caveat. Because I'm not going to ever tell you to be vulnerable with someone that can use that against you. I don't get down like that. Remember, black women have the gift of discernment above all else. Now, again, I know all this is new. I'm going right along on this journey with you, but we all have to start somewhere. So, why not start now? Why not start here? Okay, maybe you're not quite ready to take that big jump and get you some therapy or counseling, but you're ready to start the work of deconstructing from being a strong black woman. Let's talk about what you can do. One, role play. Now, I know you're probably like, Aaron, what the fuck? Role play. Pretend that you are telling someone how you really feel about something. Role play and let those emotions out. Cry, yell, scream. Use this to explore when you typically switch into that strong black woman role and when you actually should let it go. Number two, stop eating. No, I'm not talking about stop eating food. Team Foodie here. My initials literally spell EAT. What I mean is stop eating up the messages our communities, our families, and the churches give to us about having to be strong and soldier on. No, it's toxic garbage. Stop eating that stuff. Number three, emotional self expression. I already told y'all to cry, to yell, to scream, but you can also journal. You can write letters that you never intend to send. You can create art. You can tell stories. You can dance. You can do yoga. Whatever it is that helps you express yourself and feels comfortable for you. Number four, reimagine strength. Teach yourself that strength is having compassion for yourself. That strength includes taking the time to rest and to have joyful experiences as part of your life. I know so many of us have been taught that our only value comes from how much we can work and contribute. But y'all, I'm telling y'all, that is the deep conditioning from slavery that we have to let go of. We shouldn't have to wait until we're dead to finally have some kind of reward. Reward yourself now. Now, I want us to take a moment and just think about everything I've talked about. It's been a lot. I know you're probably like, sis, I just wanted to listen to me a nice little podcast while I'm driving or chilling on the couch. Now you got me reevaluating my whole life. I know. And I know all of this can seem heavy, but it's because we are starting the process of collectively unlearning something that collectively we have fallen victim to. The greatest strength is not being afraid to take care of yourself. I'm going to say that again. The greatest strength is in not being afraid to take care of yourself. You cannot pour from an empty vessel. You cannot help shine a light on others when you have no oil in your own lamp. There are too many of us that are depressed and anxious all the time. There are too many of us with health problems because we won't release some things. We've got too much high blood pressure. We've got too much hyperthyroidism. We've got too much irritable bowel syndrome. We've got too many migraines. Upholding this trope is robbing us of our joy, our peace, and destroying our black bodies in the process. Now I know black don't crack, but it might get a little nicked if we don't take better care of ourselves. It's not a betrayal to yourself or to others by no longer holding on to something that you never asked to be hoisted on your shoulders in the first place. We are women. We are divine. We are not the world's pack mules. We are not the world's maids. We are not the world's laborers. Today, right here, we put down the strong black woman stereotype and we lay it to rest. That stereotype benefits systems and power, the patriarchy, the labor market, the world, but it doesn't benefit us. Laying this down frees us from invisible shackles that we had no idea were even still around us. Cast it down. Cast it down, cast it down, and leave it. Now, as with every episode, you know I like to leave you guys with some affirmations that you can repeat to yourself, that you can journal on, ponder on. So here we go. I affirm that survival was a season, not my identity. I affirm that I am powerful even when I stop carrying everything. I affirm that choosing myself does not betray anyone, it honors me. I affirm that I can release strength that no longer serves me. And lastly, I affirm that I can put down the armor and still be safe. As we close, I want to return to something important. Breaking the strong black woman contract does not mean we become weak. It means we become honest. Honest about what we're asked to carry, honest about what it cost us, and honest about what no longer belongs to us. Because survival was never meant to be a permanent identity. Armor was never meant to become skin, and strength was never supposed to require self erasure. So if you're listening to this and you feel something loosen or something resist, let that be information, not something to rush past, not something to judge, just something to notice. You don't owe the world your exhaustion. You don't owe anyone proof of your endurance. And you don't have to keep honoring agreements you never consented to. Choosing rest is not quitting. Choosing softness is not failure. Choosing yourself is not betrayal. It's discernment. And if you're a black woman listening, standing at the edge of change, unsure who you are without the strength that once kept you safe, I want you to hear this clearly. You are still powerful when you put the armor down. You are still worthy when you stop carrying everything. And you are still whole when you choose ease over survival. This is Everything Erin, culture, commentary, and conscious living. Thank you for staying for this conversation. Thank you for staying for yourself. Until next time, y'all stay with me. And if you'd like to support the Everything Erin podcast, you can support by buying any of my books available on Amazon, in KU, Kindle, as well as in paperback under my name, Erin Ashley Tanner. And if you want to know more of my hot takes, you can follow me over TikTok at money sign everything Erin. Until next time.